I've had this discussion with some analysts, and there is a view that even the ban that has been proposed by the claimant of to the presidential election, Allesandra Ouatarra, that to ban cocoa for 1 month might be difficult to implement simply because several private companies actually do the exporting, and unless, of course, it totally closes down the port, it will be very difficult to implement. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I think so. If it doesn't close the port completely, then it will be very difficult to do that, because most of the multinationals that deal in cocoa, they're in Cote d'Ivoire. And it's not as if it's the government that pushes it. But, you know, because people will be afraid of escalations, that's the only thing that can create problems. But the market is already digesting the problems in Cote d'Ivoire.
And obviously, the development has had a huge impact on the cocoa price. Where do you see that going in the short term? Do you think that it still has some way to go? Because this impasse is something that is probably going to stay with us for a while.
Yeah, if it is banned for a month, it will have implication on the supplies to Europe and America. Therefore, that impact will be there in the market for some time. Already, the price moved and over £200 in the last few days, which is significant, you know, to the operators in the market.
And you see it rising further?
It will rise further, the way it's going.
Yeah. Okay, now let's talk about how it impacts the region. Obviously, after Cote d'Ivoire, it's Ghana and Nigeria in terms of top producers. In fact, they all rank within the top 5 globally.
Yeah.
This obviously should open up opportunities for Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire and Nigeria, shouldn't it?
Well, yeah, for the farmers, I mean, not the farmers now, let me say the local buying agents, yes, because the prices are already escalating in Nigeria. For example, as we speak, cocoa is going for 480,000 naira per ton from a price of about 420. You know, so that's an opportunity for people who are speculators to hold on to the crop and then make some gains there.
And then just give us a sense of the structure of the industry in Nigeria. I mean, obviously everybody knows about the oil industry and how sophisticated that is in Nigeria. What is it like in Nigeria to invest in cocoa, really?
The cocoa market here in Nigeria is extremely sophisticated and it's very sensitive. A little alteration in the international scene is reflected in Nigeria, and that's because the Nigerian market is heavily deregulated. Government is not in control, and a lot of foreigners are here. A lot of people are into the business. They know what's going on everywhere, and so once there's an event, they react to it immediately to make big gains.
And then let's come back to how you see this impasse playing out in Cote d'Ivoire. Where do you see it headed, in your view?
Well,
because you obviously have to take a position as
yes, we believe that it should be corrected sometime soon, maybe before the end of February, because the impact it will have in the cocoa world, and also the impact we have on the people there in Cote d'Ivoire. The way it's going on, if care is not taken, it can lead to war. And if there's a war, then we have another problem in the sub-region. And that will be a protracted thing. So I think there will be a kind of correction. It happened in 2002 thereabout, and a lot of people speculated. They thought it's going to be long, but in no time the situation was corrected, and a lot of people ran into trouble. And that's why the market is a bit cautious now. People are being careful, because if there's a correction, maybe in February, if you are too speculative, you run into trouble, because the market will immediately correct itself somewhere around May, June.
Very interesting points there. Let's look at the Nigerian market again. Coming up back to, you did mention that it's sophisticated, but we do not have, for instance, a market, organized market that trades the crop. So beyond the locals that are producing, who else benefits from this move? I mean, from the whole development in Cote d'Ivoire?
Well, the manufacturers too could benefit from it if you have stored products before now. The danger with what it is now for processors is that if you take a position now and there's a correction, you are really going to post a big loss, because the price will immediately reverse. What we are seeing is extremely artificial. And it's such a dangerous thing for those of us who are in manufacturing. You know, you have to look at the time of conversion before you convert the raw beans into product and before you sell. And again, the international market are a bit, cautious about, taking up contracts. What we can see in this kind of situation between now and the next few weeks is some kind of escalations in the theoretical prices. But in terms of physicals, I do not think anything significant can happen. So everybody's cautious. It's a thing that we are all sleeping with our eyes, one of our eyes open, to make sure that we know what to do, what position to take. For example, the price moved in the last 1 week, the price movement is just too much for any right-thinking manufacturer to just get into like that, except he has some contracts.
And then let's look at the growth potential for the market. Obviously, it's a short-term shock for the sector, but then, you know, cocoa is something that Nigeria actually used to lead in terms of production in the 60s and the 70s.
That's right.
But obviously that has changed with more focus on oil. Yeah. How do you see the sector growing in Nigeria going forward? Yeah,
I think the sector in Nigeria can grow. For example, one of the things that can assist it is the fact that there are new seedlings that has a gestation of 2.5 years, and you start harvesting. That was not there before, so it can be an attraction to entrepreneurs. But the thing about the Nigerian situation is that there's a need for government support. And basically, if the states where we have that are cocoa producing can wake up, this is the best time for Nigeria to take back its position. Because when we talk about land mass, Nigeria seems to have it more than any of those countries, even Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana. So you see, Nigeria has a chance to really move. And what we call government to do now is to assist the sector, encourage entrepreneurs so that they can get cheap money and at the same time, you know, to be able to sustain them in the period where they're waiting for the crop to mature.
Beyond, you mentioned land mass now. I was just going to ask, what other competitive advantage would you say Nigeria has as a producer of cocoa?
Our climate is very supportive to it. You know, I believe we have people, if we can reorientate them. We can have people which is also in Cote d'Ivoire or Ghana, but we have much more people that we can channel their energy into producing this crop. And of course, if government, Nigeria has a very big economy, for example, bigger than Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana. So if the government is able to kind of create an enabling environment, that will go a long way in making Nigeria to be able to come up to what it should be. For example, it's on record that some of the cocoa beans coming from Nigeria, especially in the southwest of Ondo State and so on and so forth, is very good. It has a good flavor, which the international market will be willing to kind of accept. But again, the drawback is the practices here. We really need government to come in there and put in some structures so that there'll be some kind of institution that guides the trade. If that is done, I think Nigeria can really do better. And you know, this thing has to do with economies of scale. The more you do it, the lower your cost and the better for you.